The experience was not at all what I was expecting. It feels like the phone 2 was built to be a one-to-one Android carbon copy of the 14 Pro Max because they have almost exactly the same dimensions. It might seem like a small thing, but that symmetry matters to me. In the same way that whenever I clean a room, for example, I'm constantly aligning all the boxes and the papers and the junk just so it's uniform. It's a 120Hz display, which just like the iPhone can dial itself all the way down to 1Hz to enable an always-on screen with minimal battery drain. Even in direct sunlight, one of the ways to usually discern cheaper phones is that the screen becomes quite washed out, but not here. The brightness is not quite at the iPhone's level, but very close. But even as someone with good vision and an eye for spotting differences, I can barely tell the difference. Every brand puts in super high-res screens because they feel like they have to. And so what this all means is that the Nothing Phone 2 hasn't one bit felt like I'm making an aesthetic compromise. The iPhone is pretty universally regarded as being a clean, handsome phone. I did a poll on Twitter of some of the best-looking flagship phones, and it came a very close second, beaten slightly by Samsung's S23 Ultra. Whereas the one luxury of sitting in a niche like Nothing currently does is that you can go absolutely bonkers with the design. You want a transparent back? Sure. You want 785 individual LEDs split into 11 segments? Why not? Let's do that too. The face on the back is very slightly curved on all sides, which makes my hands feel treated compared to what they're used to handling, and it's pretty great at resisting fingerprints. It's got matte rails, which don't show any prints even if you try. There's so much going on behind the back glass, and because the company stuck with brighter colors than black this time, it's actually never... They make up what Nothing calls the glyph interface. You could do some cool things like check the battery percentage from the back, or set up a specific lighting pattern so you could know who's calling without turning your phone over. But it all just felt like stuff that's fun in theory, but impractical in reality. For starters, there's more options. So with ringtones, for example, you've now got a pretty sizable library of pre-made ones. You've got Glyph Composer that lets you use the pre-built tools to make your own. You can now use the glyph as a timer. You can use it as an indicator of your current volume level. You can use it to show you when Google Assistant is listening to what you're saying. And only that will light up the glyph on the back, which is an indicator to me that I know I need to check my phone. It's at the stage now where I'm still not finding myself using the glyphs very often. Face down, you'd be in the moment, but you still have that like mental ease that you know you're not missing out on anything. This thing is running Nothing OS 2, which is a skin based on Android 13. It's clean, for starters. I mean, everything from the core system animations, the boot up screen, the wake from standby, the status bar pull down, the way it scrolls web pages, the way the home screen responds, to the fingerprint scanner, the way it looks, the way it reacts, and it's reliable too in my experience. And speaking of the lack of color, this is a very atypical smartphone home screen, right? I don't think I really understood it when I first looked at it. Or your fingers know where that app is because they've got the muscle memory. So everything being black is exactly how it should be. It's very much singing the same tune as the glyph system. The auto-applying black and white themes seems to, on a few apps, just make them black. And the phone always seems to glitch for like a split second every single time the always-on display activates. Picked up a Vivo phone recently. The amount of choice you get is insane. You can pick your fingerprint scanning icon. You have a billion camera modes and filters, and every type of animation that exists on the device, you can control. I was quite surprised to find that even the battery and the audio are not compromised either. They're following along to the music because it sounds the way that we intended it to. That this phone has an extremely similar looking display and yet lasts most of the time longer. That it's got an entire extra layer packed with hundreds of LEDs while being lighter. And that it's got more design flair but sits at half the price. Well, partly a tier more expensive than a whole swathe of good Androids you can get for closer to $400. I like to set my keyboard to have vibrations on when I hit each key. I just think it makes it feel a little bit more like you're actually typing. Both are $599. Both have one main camera, one ultra-wide, and one front camera. I mean, the detail's on par, but the dynamic range, not so much, especially in those really tricky scenarios where you've got a dark patch in the same frame as literally the sun. It struggles to keep up, automatically unblurring faces, and real tone, which is really good at making sure that people's skin tones look the way that they're meant to. So while it's not at all hard to get pretty shots out of this set of cameras, you will also likely find that your facial colors can vary between consecutive shots from the same scene. Yes, this is a real selection of photos. Yes, I stopped because I thought the deer was going to kill me. Google's intelligence means that zooming in via digital zoom is still pretty crisp all the way to 5 or 6 times. Nothing, not so much. The night mode is good though. I'm really liking how the phone is so aggressive with making sure that all the really bright spots are kept under control. And the video quality is not offensive. It's not going to look like there's a problem, but it also doesn't shine as bright as other phones. And it's given them lots of time to optimize for it. So let me believe it's perfectly nippy for all those quick in and out internet searches. And funnily enough, I've actually been struggling to get past a certain level on a game I'm playing on my iPhone because there's too much going on and the phone keeps crashing. This phone didn't struggle and actually allowed me to complete the level. Well, I think that the Nothing Phone 2 is a way more confident phone than the Phone 1. It knows what it's trying to be. It's a thoughtful device that feels like it's designed by real people. Let's be very clear, shooting in 360 is not some fun novelty that allows you to warp your footage in these weird, wonderful, everything happening around you at the same time in full 5.7K resolution. So that you can shoot first, be in the moment, enjoy yourself, and then later on reframe to focus on what you want to focus on. All with this incredibly trippy third-person out-of-body experience that normal cameras just can't capture, because the selfie stick becomes invisible in to create a drone-like perspective following you. It's got a surprising level of stabilization. It automatically levels the horizon for you. It's waterproof up to 10 meters. 360 app can edit your videos for you using artificial intelligence to sync the best bits to the beat of the music. And if you